Hello, everybody. Please let me know if you can hear me okay before we jump back into the adventures of Julia and I do my introduction and all that. And take a sip of my glass bottle of Coke, which I have it again for this stream. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me on the low side? It's probably because I decided to readjust my microphone this afternoon, and that was an error. Hopefully that's a little bit better. I'm not sure. I always try to make adjustments, and I always end up making a mess of everything. How about that? Is that better? All right, well, everyone let me know if you can't hear me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this audio back up, because I did turn it down, so I could play that funky music that you hear all the time in LA by night. So hello, everybody, and welcome back to Shadows of New York. I'm so excited to be playing this again. I was sad to not be able to play it longer than a couple of hours, but because there's so much reading and because I decide to do voices, it really messes with my throat. So I really can't do more than 2 hours, but you may be in luck because tomorrow I plan to maybe stream longer, and I'm going to stream earlier because I'll have more time on Saturday and Sunday. So here's hoping. I hope everyone in the chat is doing well. I saw Paladin Demo, Matthew Ashmore, Charles Yang, PJ Virgo. Hope you guys are all doing fabulous. I love the chit chat about coteries in the beginning before we started. I'm going to sort of move my setup over here so I can read the chat at the same time. As I said in the last stream, I need a second monitor. It's on my list. Now, in the last part, we met Julia, of course, the human Julia, and we saw her embraced by a woman named Karen, which is hilarious. And she is now the representative for the Lasombra in the New York Camarilla. And basically she's treated like garbage because nobody likes the Camarilla, nobody likes the Lasombra and the Camarilla for obvious reasons. And so we met some people in Elysium who didn't talk to us back. Who did we meet? We met someone named Payne, but I don't remember if we heard what clan he was from. We met the Banu Hakim primogen, Samira. We met the Malkavian primogen, whose name I don't remember, but he looked like Gary Busey. And we met the Prince Panhard. We met Katarina Visa. Can't remember if there's anybody else that we met. Hey Harkon, welcome, welcome. Okay, so now we are at St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I'm not really sure why. We also had some great banter with Kadir, who I love so much. Love Kadir. And I actually really... Julia's personality as a human was a little rough, but now that she's a Lasombra and that she's in the Camarilla and she's being snarky and snide, I appreciate it a lot more. Just saying. Whoop. That one. Okay. When I reach St. Patrick's Cathedral, off to a good start, I'm greeted by a voice that grates on me like teeth on tinfoil. Oh, it's Benoit. We remember him from Coteries of New York, or you should. From Coteries of New York. Van der Weyden. Yeah, that's right. That's who that was. Was he a Ventrue? The guy, Tom Payne? I don't remember if his name was... not Thomas Paine. That's an actual person. Payne. P-A-Y-N-E. I can't do a French accent. The French. Well, well, well. The prodigal daughter returns. Can't do a French accent. Oh my god, no. This is the one thing I didn't want to happen. Julia, please, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Uh-huh. Where's Father Leonard? His clergy duties keep him from getting here on time. He sent me to apologize in his name and keep you company for a few minutes. That's the second thing he ought to apologize for. He just wants his flock to live in unity. I am more than willing to oblige him. Why won't you? For the last time, I'm not a part of his flock. We have a purely professional arrangement. Okay, so that's interesting because the Lasombra are very much associated, their clan anyways, very much associated with the church. As the Ventrue pull strings through business and enterprises, the Lasombra pull the strings through churches and the Holy See and things like that. Sabbat is most likely dispersed and gathering in Mexico City. That's as far as we know for V5. So is the Sabbat defunct now since Lasombra were the thinkers? I don't see the Smichi holding the fort down solo. No, I don't either. I know you see it that way. The Knight clan's tendency to stick close to the Catholic Church is their greatest virtue, but they still consider this relationship purely instrumental. This is why we need kindred like you to bring the spiritual change to your clan, to make them understand God's precious gifts. The closer they'd come to the light, the greater their shadows would become. Again with his insufferable sermonizing. And if I'm not mistaken, Benoit was Sophie's child, if I'm not mistaken. Benoit Seagal here is a local nutjob and an ex-artist, a degenerate who had some sort of complete mental breakdown in the 90s. Degenerate is another name for Clan Toreador. To recover, he took to religion for solace and guidance. At first, he proclaimed his readiness to devote the rest of his life to studying Nodism. After a few years, though, he changed his mind and joined the Catholic Church instead. And of course, Nodism is the Book of Nod, Cain's commandments to the kindred and prophecies about Gehenna and things like that. Oh my goodness. As luck would have it, his neophyte zeal found a major target in me. When I first met him, I was stupid enough to tell him I was raised Catholic and still identified as such, somewhat. He immediately pictured me as some sort of force for change within the Camarilla, and set out to put me back on the righteous path. Now he won't stop preaching to me, and apparently until I become a nun. Remember, the darkest place is directly beneath your dark candle. You turncoats have this unfortunate predisposition to find salvation right within your grasp, and then lose your way in the shadows. Christ, once he starts, he just won't stop. I guess it's time to bring out the big guns. By the way, I was meaning to ask, got any news about Sophie Langley? Oh no, don't say her name! No. A painful grimace crosses his face, but doesn't linger. Kind of rude to change the subject, you know. Rude. I'm just looking for a topic both sides of this conversation would care about. You know, like any guide on etiquette says you should. Salvation is a topic close to anyone's heart, whether they admit it or not. And it's pretty bold of you to assume I still care about Langley. I do not assume. I'm certain you do. The second she retires from the public eye, you stop acting like Jesus era Kanye and start acting like Jesus is King era Kanye. Coincidence? I've never had a Jesus era. Do people really call it that? Here's how it's going to work. Tell me what... I don't know enough about Kanye West to be able to make any commentary on that. I'm gonna be totally honest. Oh, hey, Ethan. Yay. Ragnarok is the person who made my new outro. He's making my channel art. He's pretty much been responsible for a lot of the art that's on my channel because I'm terrible and can't do anything when it comes to creative stuff like that. What's the types of vampires that remain devout in their religion in their religious beliefs? You mean vampires who have true faith? Is that what you're referring to, Harkin? Here's how it's going to work. Tell me what you know, I'll tell you what they say. And keep in mind, I didn't know she was your sire until a few nights ago. Hell, I haven't even met her. He winces a bit at me, saying hell, but lets it go. Sure, I figure you had prodded that wound long ago if you knew, but what do you care anyway? Better to let you drone on about your tormented past than to let you carry on with your good missionary shtick. Professional curiosity. Once a journalist, always a journalist. He scratches his head, then exhales in a sad mockery of a chuckle. Fine, then. I'll do my best to make it short. Just like you said, Sophie Langley, every New York kindred's beloved socialite, was my sire. We first met sometime after World War II. I left France right before the Nazis went around the Maginot Line. I struggled to keep my siblings alive with my art. Watched my brother die during the flu epidemic of '43. I was close to losing my mind. That's when she showed up. She said the sheer torment in my works caught her eye. She became my patron, allowed my talents to flourish, and she supported me financially. Eventually, she embraced me. As a well-off kindred, my artistic interests started to naturally deviate from what they used to be back when I was a poor mortal upstart. I began to see the world the way her social circle does. And that she couldn't forgive. Instead of being a fun novelty, I became just another part of the malaise surrounding her. She grew distant and then stopped seeing me altogether. I've had my share of meltdowns because of this. I won't deny that. I locked myself out of many career opportunities, but it was an important lesson. Don't trust your elders. Vampirism affects them psychologically as well. If they take interest in you, they won't stop until they suck your soul dry and then discard you like a broken toy. Okay, so Kanye West is crazy. It's all you need to know. Well, I know that, but I mean, in terms of his music, I can honestly say I've listened to a couple of songs in my whole life, so I really don't know. Kanye would be a Malkavian. All right, that's good to know. I think Harkon means a Nautist. Nautists are vampires who believe what the Book of Nod says. That's correct. I miss Sophie. I miss Sophie too. Sophie was the best. So what he's referring to, Benoit is talking about his past with Sophie. It is very common for Toreadors because it is said that, depending on who you ask, either Toreadors or Bruja are the most connected to humanity. And it tends to be that they will embrace someone, Toreador specifically, and then sort of lose interest in them after they are kindred. They lose that blush of life, to use vampire parlance, that they're so desperate for once they're dead, and usually they end up abandoning their kindred, or just at the very least being indifferent to them. So it's not uncommon that happened to Benoit. Not that other elders are nicer to their childer necessarily. Some are, certainly. Not all, though. Benoit's hurting my soul. Can we stake him yet? For the first time since I've known him, Seagal registers to me as something other than a Bible-thumping nuisance. Is it compassion I feel? Do I find him relatable? How dreadful. It's possible he's strategically trying to elicit sympathy. Maybe he heard about my dramatic exit from Lodestar, or maybe he's just alluding to the way my sire left me here to defend for myself. It is only God who will never lead you astray. That is why I find your act so frustrating, Julia. You are so close to getting it, but you choose sin instead. Nice shirt, by the way. There's the Benoit Seagal I know. Almost had me fooled. Let's get back on track. What about Langley's disappearance from the city? It was Arturo. He's horrible, and he's controlling everything behind the scenes like a puppet master. Her past was a road to perdition. Wherever she ended up, I doubt she's too happy about it. She had plans for the future of this city, wanted to make it her ultimate artwork. She was always the vain one. And of course, you are completely sure you have nothing to do with her disappearance? Please don't tell me you're getting at what I think you're getting at. Everybody says you've been acting like you're trying to repent for something ever since her vanishing act, and you've got a motive. Of course I'm getting at what you think I'm getting at. Benoit shakes his head. You really have the devil in your heart, Julia, always testing me. Just asking what everyone's thinking. Are they now? Listen, I'm familiar with a lot of the insults attached to my name in the city. Those aren't exactly compatible with the image of a ruthless killer. Killer, huh? That's interesting. I haven't said anything about killing. He scrubs his hands over his forehead and collects himself before responding. Stop picking apart every word I say in this completely unpleasant way. Here's a statement if you really want one, Miss Hercule Poirot. I don't know who that is. I do believe Sophie, the way I knew her, has met her end. Even if she's still walking this earth, she wouldn't come back here as the same prideful aristocrat. She'd have to undergo a spiritual rebirth. Someone has reminded her of her place. She doesn't have a head anymore, she's dead. Her former friends talk of her in hushed voices. Even that servant play toy of hers went missing. I know. Awful. No more Camarilla parties. She's done for. Whatever happened to her, I don't know. I swear on Jesus and his sandals, I had nothing to do with it. But yes, I'm still here, and she's not. And it's not a reason to gloat, but to be more humble. I received a sign from God telling me to re-examine all the unfortunate ways I still resemble Sophie Langley. And I listened. I rejected the pride I share with her. I renewed my vows to God, recommitted to preaching his greatness. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place. Right now, when I think of Langley's influence on my life, I'm grateful, because she was a sign that got me here. And if God wills it, maybe one day you'll look at her the same way, Julia. Mental note, whenever he circles back to this preachy tone, it's time to intervene. I see the chat flying. I'm not looking at it. Elder vampire like making new vamps because their youth and naivety gives them something fresh, human to cling on to from tired old souls they have become. Correct. So, when Benoit became old and jaded, he could no longer give Sophie that youth naivete that drew her to him in the first place, thus she discarded him and moved on. As is tradition. His true faith is shunning me away. Yeah. Poirot is an Agatha Christie character. He's a detective famous for such cases as Murder on the Orient Express. Never read an Agatha Christie book. I read a lot, I'm a voracious reader, but one book series or author, or actually genre of books I don't necessarily love are mystery novels. That's not my thing. All right. If it makes you feel any better, I think that the only way a wimp like you could have hurt her was by boring her to death with Bible quotes. Now then, quid pro quo, tit for tat. You were saying people still talk about me. I was curious if... Oh, look who's finally here. Stalling for time worked. Father Leonard rushes in our direction, carrying a folder of documents under his arm. I assume it's the one I came here for. Father Leonard. Christ be praised, Julia. Yesterday I was told this is how priests greet their parishioners in Eastern Europe. Forever and ever, amen. Actually, I think we said each other's lines. Never mind. Another long night? Isn't it taking a toll on you? Ah, no need to worry. These days I sleep a few hours a day, short naps take care of the rest, and there's always work to be done. I apologize for being late. At least I managed to get here before you and Benoit went for each other's throats. Good. I was getting worried. Oh, who do you take me for, Father? He takes you for a total bozo who's about as effective at converting people as a documentary about pedophilia in the Catholic Church. He's just too kind to say it out loud. Ouch. Hear what I have to deal with, Father? But I don't worry. We'll make a saint of her yet. Forget saint. For now, I'd settle for an adult in the room. He's 70 years older. Passive-aggressive much? I kind of think we're the one being passive-aggressive, but I kind of want to say that anyway, just to see what he says. Father Leonard does have nice hair. He's got that good product. He takes whatever, I guess, recommendations from the barber. I'm going to say passive-aggressive much, because that seems like a strange thing to say, because it's obviously Julia who's being a little passive-aggressive. Excuse me? Asking for an adult in the room is not solving a problem. It's abdicating responsibility. Julia, you know exactly what I mean, so please don't get smart with me. They don't sound like my mother, maybe? An adult in the room, Julia. All I'm asking for. Here. He gives me a folder he was carrying with him, and I pass him the reports I wrote earlier tonight. Among kindred, it is common knowledge that the Catholic Church is one of the Lasombra's greatest assets. Hell, it might even be one of the main reasons the Camarilla is slowly warming up to the clan. I don't know. It seems quite dangerous to be associating with the Church in modern nights, especially with the Second Inquisition ramping up. But maybe there is much more... many more hunter resources coming from the government as opposed from the church for the Second Inquisition. I really don't know. We don't know a whole lot about the Second Inquisition. Just rumors and such. You're the same barber Kadir went to. Absolutely. Kadir must have to go to that barber every night. We are technologically impaired and as such woefully unprepared to face the challenges of communicating in the 21st century. Hard to handle advanced encryption when you can't even unlock a smartphone. This is where the Vatican connections enter the picture. A web of priests scattered all around the world exchange our dispatches between each other, making sure they all reach their destinations in total secrecy. I was told not everyone in the Holy See is friendly to our kind, but the most shrewd and talented usually are. You could say they're like a mortal Camarilla, better than any intelligence agency. Remember what happened to John Paul I when he attempted to uncover the workings of the Institute for the Works of Religion? No. Death after 33 days of papacy, rumors of CIA and Masonic involvement. Though, I don't... Not that Father Leonard has anything to do with any of this. For a Catholic priest, he's all right. He'd probably have made me stay a believer a few years longer than I did had I known him as a teenager. Leonard is intelligent, kind, helpful towards his parishioners, treats his superiors with a healthy dose of skepticism, and is not involved in any sort of political church games. Well, at least not beyond helping me contact my bosses in Chicago every other night or so. He knows about the kindred, and he knows about the Second Inquisition. He opted to avoid the latter in order to keep the former from oppression because, according to him, it's the right thing to do. I know there's got to be something wrong with him, some selfish motivation maybe, and I haven't nailed it down yet, but it doesn't feel like he's making an effort to hide it, so I'm giving him a pass. By the way, I hope you don't mind. I finally took the liberty of asking how your parents are doing. Thank you, Father, but you shouldn't have. Can you guys give me 1 second? My doorbell's ringing. I'm so sorry. Hang on 1 second. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. My my neighbor who lives downstairs, her fire alarm was going off, and she wasn't tall enough to reach it, and she didn't have any thing tall enough to reach it, so I had to go down there and help her. Sorry about that. Oh, man. Repent! Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Oh, that wasn't too long. I don't know. I didn't time it. Not a problem. A priest at St. Stanislaus Kostka is a good friend. He says your parents started showing up every Sunday again. Front rows. Your father is looking better and better. It makes me feel nothing, but I still give him a token nod and a grateful smile. Thank you, Father Leonard. Now, if you'll excuse me, the sunrise is almost here. Yes, be careful, and God bless you. Amen. Goodbye, Julia. I'll let you off the hook this time, but next time you won't be so lucky, all right? Sure. Just one more thing on my never-ending list of events I'm not looking forward to. Sorry, hiccup. Oh, that's nice of you all. She's a very old woman who is mostly blind and probably shouldn't be living by herself. Guess it's time to call it a night. I'm home. Oh, nice. That's what I want my bedroom to look like. Oh, it's Dakota. That's Dakota. Okay, from the images we've seen, the released images from Shadows of New York. Finally, you doing all right? Fine, I guess. Why aren't you asleep? I figured it's finally time for me to become more of a night owl. We've talked about making our schedules sync better. Watch your vitamin D. I'd kill to have your skin. Would be a shame to waste it. Shouldn't have smoked so much before you got bitten, sweetheart. Oh, so she knows? Or is she also kindred? Should have shared your skincare routine with me back when I was still breathing. I can't just be going around sharing my one secret weapon. It's top secret stuff. MK Ultra level. Jeffrey Epstein's current whereabouts level. I'd have to kill you if I told you. Okay. I'm just going to not comment on that at all. At all, I'm not going to comment. Love you too, hon. I assumed they were in a relationship. That's what I assumed from their conversation when she was still alive on the subway. I'll say I love you too, honey. Okay then. Love you too, hon. Come on. What's with the attitude? Julia's dripping with attitude. What a weird question to ask her. Nothing. I just thought, we're beyond hiding secrets from each other. I guess I was wrong, but okay, I get it. I really do. Time out. You're not really mad, are you? Nah, it's just my inner asshole teasing you. Never mind. I feel a little more self-conscious than usual tonight. Don't. You want me to do your makeup before you go to sleep? No need. No need? Weren't you supposed to have some sort of big party tomorrow night? I was involved in the backstage stuff. What makes you think I was invited? Because you're the coolest, cutest, and most all-around amazing person I know. They'd be insane not to put you on the short list. Believe it or not, but most vampires are pretty insane. Interdimensional psychic vampire level insane, because that's how crazy they'd have to be to ignore you like this. I want to know if her sire told her not to do this. It's very dangerous. Unless she ghouled her. Yeah, I would say so. Fuck them then. A big bunch of posh dicks. They hate you because they ain't you, but they'll see. Jesus, how do you do it? Do what? You always assault me with so much of this weird, stupid positivity that I can't react to it without completely shifting my mental attitude. How do you do it? Oh, the answer is easy. You remember how I told you we have this spiritual connection? I can sense what you feel and want. You can sense what I feel too if you really focus. Yeah, I think I called it a big load of bullshit. Said a girl who talks to ghosts. But watch this, Agent Scully. I sensed you feeling down and I realized what you really need to end this night. She points to one of her drawers. It's the one where she keeps her supply of... ketamine? Come on. What? No, wrong drawer. We're not meeting demons. We're meeting angels. MDA? MDMA? Ding, ding, ding. Took it half an hour ago. Perfect timing thanks to our spiritual connection. Okay, so obviously she feeds off of her. Epstein alive is canon, right? That's why I said I'm not going to comment on that. You have some really old movie lines. I think Dakota is... well, obviously Dakota is Julia's touchstone, yeah, obviously. Ready to fly away? The mood isn't right. I need music. Got a special SoundCloud playlist ready to go, prepared specifically to uplift one Julia Sawinski. Just give me a sign and I'll press play. Jesus, you're impossible. That's why you love me, I hope. I give up. Come here. Let me have a taste of you. Maybe this one time, the high won't end. Things to do in New York City when you're dead. What an excellent name for an achievement. Oh, God. That's cute. I thought we'd get a nice little feeding scene, but maybe some explanation of what it's like to be high on MDA as a kindred, but you know, whatever. Let's rest. I leave Dakota's apartment as soon as the sun goes down, and I bump my microphone. Yesterday was fun, but I always feel a little nervous when I spend too much time with her. She never lets me escape from being the center of attention. It's exhausting. At least the less time I spend with her, the happier she is to see me again. It's a tricky act to balance, though. I am grateful for her presence in my life, but never mind. What's on my list of chores tonight? Ah, yes, only one thing. Don't show up for the party at the art hole. Well, this is the rare night when I don't have anything to do. Might as well take a trip around the city and see what's up. And maybe fix myself a little drink while I'm at it. Yes. All right, so we have breaking the habit. I need to break out of this mood, go somewhere I never visit, see something I tend to avoid. Think, Julia, what is the least you place to go and live a little? Or a walk in the park. In life, I wasn't especially fond of parks. Now as one of the kindred, I can finally see the appeal. Past midnight, they become a surprisingly good hunting ground. Okay, so I'll let you guys pick which one that you want to do. I personally would like to do a walk in the park because I would love it if we could maybe meet Tamika. I don't know if she's appears in this game at all, but Tamika was one of my favorite characters from Coteries, so my vote is for the park, but I will let you guys decide where you guys want to go. Either the park or someplace else. It doesn't say specifically. Somewhere she never visits. North or south, I guess you could pick, since that's what it looks like on the map. Not super familiar with New York landscape. Packing my werewolf game did spiritually active peyote. That's neat. The park, please. No, not Mother Larissa. Don't understand that. All right, let's go to the park. Let's take a walk in the park. Van Cortlandt Park. That is not the same park, though. Bummer. I'm pretty sure it's not the same park. Funny, I never knew how much I could miss nature until I got stuck in this urban jungle for good. The sight of familiar green surroundings slowly floods my mind with disjointed images back from when I just moved to New York City and was still in awe of it. Let's reminisce. I need to suppress memories. We're kindred, and eventually our blood's gonna thicken and we're gonna start forgetting stuff. Have to go into memoriam to remember things. The other place is the pier. Okay. Yeah, nothing bad ever happened at a park. I close my eyes, allowing myself to drown in the stream of memories. An elderly couple holding their frail hands in the warmth of the morning sun. An evening gathering of self-important academics, fervently discussing the discoveries no one but them cares about. A bunch of kids chasing an imaginary treasure, joyful, restless, and oblivious to the dangers of the summer's heat wave. A young, perfectly chiseled jogger running along the golf course, 100% graceful in every move he makes. Mesmerizing. My eyes snap open and the spinning kaleidoscope of images fades away. I collect my focus and remember what brought me here. A burning heat reaches my fingers. I flicker the butt away and immediately take another cigarette out of the pack before proceeding through the parade ground. Julia, you really should. There's... I mean, I've never been to this particular park, but I'm sure there's trash cans everywhere. You could put the cigarette out in the trash can, just saying. Or since you're a chain smoker, they have these things where you can put it on your keys and you can put your butts in there and just empty it out every once in a while. Or every day would be preferable. The faint sound of shoes tapping against the concrete interrupts my contemplative mood. Just what I was hoping for. I hurriedly finish my smoke and take a step back, blending in with the shadows. A lonely jogger runs into and out of the pale lamplight, completely lost in his thoughts, all dressed up in top-shelf sportswear, wiry muscles clearly visible under the skin-tight outfit. And his exposed neck. I get the urge back under control for now. Back when I was alive, I'd rely on the breathe in, breathe out exercise. However, nowadays, breathing costs a premium. Just as I regain my composure, the jogger stops by the flickering lantern and takes a glance at his smartphone. His body tenses noticeably as he answers a call. Lantern? I guess it's a lantern. It's the park at the... Oh, it is the park. Okay. Julia doesn't know what's happening in California, how to be loitering like that. Yeah. Moving in on him right now would, of course, inevitably involve the caller hearing the assault happen. No reason to make things complicated. I'll take my time. I cautiously get closer and closer until I finally overhear his words. Should expect bad news, I know, but Jesus, Tasha, he's 9. That's the voice I gave him, I don't know why. He struggles and fails to sound calm. No, she doesn't know yet. I'll tell her when I get home. I need to think this through. I notice a lanyard half stuck into a pocket with the Bronx Times logo slapped on it. They say there's no cure. Yeah, I heard something about experimental treatments in Rochester, but I can't make this decision on my own. I connect the dots, realize what he's talking about, and feel like I was punched straight in the guts. Listen, I need to clear my head. Tell Jonah I need a couple of days off. If he starts throwing a fit again, tell him he'd better learn how to write the fucking column on his own. No, seriously. Thanks, Tasha. Yes, I'll give him a kiss from his auntie. The moment he hangs up, his composure goes out the window. He basically stumbles to the nearest bench. God damn it. His faint sobbing stops me in my tracks. I lose my appetite. Feeding on this guy would feel nauseating anyway. Just when I convince myself that I should let basic decency take the reins, he notices me creeping around. He gives me a startled glance, eyes damp, looking absolutely miserable. Busted. So what do you say to a guy you were just about to assault in a dark park, but thought better of it? Are you a journalist? Yeah, let's ask him that, since I think he is one. Might be a good way to break the ice. How would the Camarilla react to the coronavirus? Matthew Dawkins answered that question on Twitter a while ago, months ago, basically saying that, all kindred and would be keeping their ghouls and retainers very close and keeping them locked away and things like that. All their nightclubs and hunting grounds devoid of prey, and for this long. Yeah. That's why it's always good to have a ghoul or two, or, regular people that you feed on where you know where they live and stuff that you can sort of whisk away to feed off of. But to be fair, there's a lot of people still going to bars and things like that, so at least in the States, as far as I'm aware. Are you a journalist? Hey, he absent-mindedly wipes away the tears off his cheeks. Do you by any chance write for the Bronx Times? His short but genuine grin catches me off guard. He didn't expect to be recognized, definitely not by some random girl in the middle of the night. Yes, how do you know? You don't strike me as a baseball fan. So he's a sports columnist. I put the fakest smile on my face. Time to lie out of my ass. Well, you got that right. I'm a reporter too. I have the hiccups. I think I saw you once when I visited Jonah in his office. You work with him, right? Yeah, you might say that. His inner struggle seems pretty clear. Truth be told, I write most of his things as well. Bingo. For real? That lazy bum will never change. If he wasn't such an ass kicker, he'd be out of his comfy seat in no time. Sheesh, it's like you read my mind. Yeah, anyway, don't let me stop you. Keep up the good work. You deserve better. You think so? Glad to hear it. Still, I don't mean to impose, but it's late and this place is not exactly... Yeah, don't worry about me. Someone is picking me up a few minutes away from here. See you around. For sure. Oh, and thank you. I notice a change in his melancholic face. He stands up with his back straight, like he has regained some of his lost resolve. He nods and starts running straight back to his problems. I start walking in the opposite direction. Even though I might regret the show of abstinence later, what little remains of my humanity inside my shriveled heart encourages me to think that letting this guy go was the right thing to do. I'll need a change of scenery to break out of this mood, and an opportunity to actually get some juice into my veins, relatively guilt-free if possible. Guess that's enough human interaction for one night. Once more to Big Beat Burger, into the last fast food joint I'll ever know. Our beaches are full of people, no problem. But are beaches full at night? Do people hang around the beach at night? I have no idea. I've never been a beach person. I'll have the usual. The first time I used this line, I wasn't sure it would work, but I've gained enough notoriety among the staff that it does. The cashier just smiles, nods, and charges me for one black coffee. I can imagine them instructing the newbies. See that emo weirdo? Here's how it is. She always orders a single cup of coffee, nothing else, and she doesn't even drink it. Probably wouldn't take a single sip even if I was still alive. This stuff is just trash. But at least being a buying customer gives me an excuse to sit here for as long as I want to. I wish I could use one of those self-order kiosks to minimize human contact, but touchscreens don't exactly like me. Not too long ago, I managed to blue screen 10 of them in a row. Hilarious. Ah, well, the good news is it doesn't look like I have anything to do tonight. The bad news is it's because every kindred who matters is having fun at the art hole right now. It's not like I wanted to go. I just wanted them to invite me so that I could tell them to fuck off. I scan the entrance to the restaurant through my peripheral vision. Am I naively hoping someone will come and save me from misery? Guess I am. Please, please, please let somebody come and get me out of here. A prince, a princess, a knight in shining armor, a fairy godmother, a passing huntsman, Big Bad Wolf, Mila Jovovich, Vin Diesel, Azealia Banks. Hell, I'll take anyone at this point. Visualizing, tapping into the power of my subconscious, materializing my dreams. Nope, doesn't work. Looks like you're eternally stuck being a nobody in the corner of a shitty restaurant, sweet little Julia. And life's a bitch, and then you don't even die. I pretend to read a book about psychoanalysis I stole from Dakota for a while. Having found it too mentally taxing, I switched to pretending to read a Stephen King book, which I also stole from Dakota. Why couldn't you just ask her? I'm sure she'd just give them to you. Oh, did you enjoy it, Blade of Ashtaroth? Was it better than Coteries, would you say? After the terrifying realization that it was written in the last 15 years and therefore contains no amusing drugged-out rants about troubled childhood in Maine, I switched back to looking at the entrance. That party must be so stuffy and trashy and boring. At this point, I'm no longer looking for salvation. I'm asking for amusement. But it doesn't come. All I get is boring bozos in normcore clothes. They walk in, take care of their business without doing anything to amuse me, and walk out. A few minutes after I lose all hope, a tall, elegant man marches in with a spring in his step. He looks around, impatient, irritated. Then he notices the person he was looking for and reacts with visible relief. He gallantly approaches my table, looks at me, and says, "There you are." "It's Kadir, yay!" Now that's curious. He shouldn't be here. Fairy godmother? Vin Diesel? Looks like my prayers were answered. Vin goddamn Diesel is here, ready to take me away from this dreadful place in his shining Dodge Charger. Is Michelle Rodriguez in trouble again? Have you made up with The Rock? Will we get justice for Han? Are we going to a race? Will you teach me how to live my life a quarter mile at a time? God, I love her. I love her. She's so me and I love her. My dumb attempt at self-amusement doesn't faze him at all. He doesn't even roll his eyes, just stares at me blankly. Grab your stuff and get in my car. Now. His tone leaves no room for doubt. Something bad has happened. I want to ask what, but whenever he's in his I will simply ignore all the dumb shit you say mode, I know better than to ask questions. Instead, I silently follow him to the exit. He guides me to his car. I just hope I haven't messed anything up. Again. I don't think I have, but have I? Kadir's car. That look, oh my god. As usual, he gave me the back seat. He's always uneasy when the passenger seat is taken. He doesn't want anyone to limit his peripheral vision, he says. Normally, I'd catch him observing me in the rearview mirror, but this time he's watching the streets, more tense than usual. Something must have caught him off guard. I've got my seatbelt on and popcorn ready. What's up? Julia's growing. Yeah, Julia is hilarious. I love her. Shadows of New York seems to have more charm since Julia's story is more defined. I agree. A single character definitely makes it easier to connect with them. The awkward silence feels like it will last forever. Eventually, he finds the right words and speaks up. 6 weeks ago, the prince told me to parley with the Anarchs in the docks. Remember? Yeah, and you made me tag along so that I could learn something about politics. As it turned out, politics meant something awfully similar to watching my drunken family shout at each other at a wedding party. There was this man who didn't need to shout to make my blood boil. The meanest one in the room, their leader. White hair, a monocle, musty clothes. What was his name? I can't remember. Also a bad guy. Can't remember his name. That's it, Boss Callahan. With this I don't want to say that word. I'm not going to say that word. With this fucking cunt. There we go. Skip that word. Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, how could I forget? A lot of panache, old-timey bravado, and gendered insults flung my way. What was his name? Something British. Made me think of Hollywood. Callahan? Baron Callahan. Douglas Boss Callahan. Right, it's 2020, but the man's opinions and ideas were stuck in 1920. Weren't the Anarchs supposed to be the progressive option? I never understand why they put up with him. He has his ways of predicting which way the wind will blow. Anytime Camarilla or the SI hit the Anarchs, it was the factions opposed to him that were hurt. The luckiest bastard in the world. Thought you didn't believe in luck. I don't, but it sure looks like his luck has finally run out. Tonight. Huh. Wait, don't tell me. We're gonna kill him? The Anarchs got rid of him? An evil grin. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know the specifics, but I do know he's gone. Wow, gone as in he's dead? Deader than dead? I'm 99% sure the bastard met his final death. How do you know? We've got trustworthy sources in the Anarch inner circles. Looks like all hell is about to break loose. There's an emergency meeting at the art hall. Yay, I'm finally invited into the art hall. Lucky me. Yeah, Callahan. I forgot his name. Jesus, and you're bringing me with you? Why? Because you were on the way. Because I could. Because I should. You might not be important to the members of the court, but you're still an asset to the sect. Symbolically, at least. I can justify sneaking you into the party, claiming it's for your own protection. As always, my very own Vin Diesel takes care of his familia. Wait a minute, though. The party is still happening? Ellipses. I called the prince, told her the best course of action is stopping it, and started listing security protocols I have prepared for these sort of situations. She interrupted me halfway through and told me we will discuss the subject face to face. Doesn't sound like she was interested. The party is that important, huh? Politics. Politics is that important. I don't know if he's trying to convince me or himself. And once again, politics sounds an awful lot like a bunch of party-loving assholes shouting at each other. It's exactly what politics is. Don't worry. This isn't the kind of, how should I call it, governing issue the likes of you and I tend to deal with. And how would you describe the governing issues we tend to deal with? Shoveling ourselves out of shit. As usual, he seems a little embarrassed for cussing, or for being too honest. Either way, it's cute. No argument here. Oh, are you a native of New York, Blade of Ashtaroth? Have you read the original New York by Night from, I want to say it's from 1993, but it could be from 1994? Have you read that? Yes, I definitely hope. With coteries and now with shadows, I feel like there's plenty there to make a V5 New York by Night book. But I have a feeling they would be saving that for whenever the Sabbat V5 comes out, because I feel like New York was such a stronghold for the Sabbat that it would definitely be on their agenda to retake it, if they are even a coherent sect anymore. Are we sure Panhard isn't Toreador? Yeah, I know, it's strange. Are we sure Kadir is Toreador? And that's where the conversation ends. We stay silent as the car rides off toward the unknown. Ding. I don't know. What? I'm not a New York City baron. The Baron of New York City, if you please. Once more, a memory of an old douchebag who thought he could rule the world crosses my mind. Well, it looks like the world has left him behind. Sayonara, asshole. And here I am, at the only place I didn't expect to visit tonight. The Art Hole. What a name. I love it. Guessing by the sounds, the inside seems lively. Even if they know it's an emergency, they simply don't care. What are you standing around for? You still need an invitation? No idea, do I? I think the bouncer will let you in. There's a bouncer? Yes, and he's standing right in front of you. Just start walking, whelp. And here I am, among partying elites. It's as stuffy and boring as I expected, but hey, at least it's exclusive. The title Panhard came up with for these yearly gatherings is called Celebrations of Power, an invitation to re-examine the relationship between our undead bodies and the spaces they inhabit. Are we sure she's not Toreador? We 100% sure? Oh my god. No, but she is ghouled by, or not ghouled, but bloodbound to Thomas Arturo, who is Toreador, so maybe that's sort of rubbing off on her a little bit. You have it in ebook and Breathing Slowly. I've read it a couple of times. I really enjoy it. The week-long event is packaged as a sort of performance art piece meant to make the kindred who are involved celebrate their potential instead of despairing at their monstrous nature. We need to counter-program the omnipresent images of tragic vampirism with images that remind us we have inherited the earth and are now free to remake it in our image, is the way our prince puts it. To this end, she organizes a series of exhibits, concerts, fireworks, parties, business meetings, etc., etc. Of course, the parties and business meetings are the most important. My prince. Oh, wow. Look at her all dolled up. Oh my goodness. Kadir, finally. A saint with angelic wings, a holy patron of New York City. I take a good look around. Half the figures here are dressed like they're attending a masked ball. The other half are religious figures, either demonic or saintly. I have to admit I don't fully understand the theme here. I know Panhard based it on psychomagic, a sort of shamanic psychotherapy using the power of art. Simply put, it's a holy mass and unholy mass in equal measure, a set of rituals meant to make the participants wholeheartedly accept they're both the worst and the best this earth has to offer. I mean, she's not wrong. She's an eccentric venture surrounded by roses. I think she has a lot of inspiration. Yeah, Panhard is a diva. My god. I want to see Katarina Visa as the prince, honestly. Put on the mask at the very least. You're standing out. Oh, you cutie pie. You looks like Pan from Greek mythology. Oh, you adorable little thing. Here. I heard the aesthetic basis for these parties is the black mass in the film Eyes Wide Shut. Some think this decision means Panhard is tone deaf, but it's quite the contrary. She knows the Anarchs are constantly looking for ways to undermine her through art and rhetoric that point out glaring contradictions in her theoretically benevolent rule. But instead of denying and suppressing aesthetics designed to criticize the elites, she embraces them. Instead of risking a Streisand effect, she effectively defangs the opposition. The resistance becomes a part of the system, and both the Camarilla and the Anarchs get the same message. Don't think of it as a pathology, think of it as the new normal. I'll collect the key advisors. They've already been told to come here. I don't think there's a need for us to hold the meeting in a particularly secluded place. We'll just do it over there. Are you certain? Absolutely. Wait, is that Miss Sawinski I see behind you? Reminds me of Padme style. Yeah, it's very Star Wars. I'm sure we will love everyone's outfits. I love them already. Just like Kadir talk. We don't even want to talk to her. She's so irritating. I nudge Kadir to take over. I collected her on my way here, because of her role as a Lasombra representative. Just say political hostage. You people have made it perfectly clear what's going to happen with my parents back in Chicago if I go against you. I realized she might become a target, and I decided to hide her at the art hole. Putting all my eggs in one basket will make my job easier. I will look for a safe place for her to spend the night. Whoa, don't skip. It froze for a second. God. I hate this guy. I hate his outfit. I hate everything about him. Let her stay with you for now, Al-Azmai. Time is of the essence. I didn't notice him sneak up on us. Nice getup. Are you absolutely sure? But of course. Everything we say is going to become an open secret in a matter of minutes. Prince Panhard has already come up with the appropriate messaging. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot an elderly vampire guiding a young, fashionable human girl toward the basement, led like a lamb to the slaughter. Best not to think too deeply about what's going on underneath this place. Before everyone gets here, I'd like to secure the perimeter. Easy now, Al-Azmai. All of the appropriate security protocols for you are already active. Me and the prince have already pulled some strings as well. The situation is mostly under control. Mostly under control, never let anyone sleep any easier. Al-Azmai, I know that as the prince's sword you're aching for blood, but you have to accept that, like most weapons known to men, you're most effective hidden in the sheath. Listen here now. Looks like a fascinating philosophical discussion in the making, but sadly I'm forced to interrupt Prince Panhard. Too many voices. All of a sudden, Samira appears between the two men, her calm and collected voice completely changing the atmosphere, as expected for a self-professed protector of the peace. Samira, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Too many voices, I'm getting overwhelmed. No style, no substance, Arturo. Thomas Arturo is... I don't know that reference. Sasuke Aizen? I don't know that reference. If it's an anime reference, I don't know anime. I know, I'm horrible. Help me, Kadir, you're my only hope. Excellent. I'm sorry if I'm going to start getting voices mixed up, but if we're going to have like more than 4 people, this is going to be a real problem for me. To be quite honest, I feel out of place. She nods and smiles at me, probably to signal she takes solace in not being the only person in the room who feels like a fish out of water. Especially now, seeing as I heard this meeting is meant for those of greater stature than mine. Nonsense. We have a delicate matter to discuss, one that might require severe judgment down the road. I think you understand why I wished for a child of Hakim to be involved. Of course. What is that expression on your face, Kadir? He quickly collects himself. Look who's joining us. The High Regent of the Chantry of the 5 Boroughs, Lady Aisling Sturbridge, walks up to our group in an outfit I would have never imagined her in, pretending everything is par for the course. Prince Panhard, the Sheriff, the Hoppy, the Banu Hakim Primogen. Are we still waiting for someone? Ah! She's just wearing horns. That's all she did. She just put on a pair of horns. Hilarious. The greatest anime villains of all time. Slight spoiler since we aren't supposed to know he's a bad guy at first. Okay, which anime is that from? I have no idea. I was practicing voices too. He's almost here. Shining even more brightly than usual, Aisling. I adore your outfit, Samira. Wish the prince allowed the same amount of effort for me. I, for one, am glad she didn't. I particularly love those horns. Thank you for reminding me. I put them on at the prince's behest, but I believe she's had more than enough fun. No, not yet. Ah, well, this will do for now. But you're not off the hook yet. I paid a costly price to see you like this. Both Kadir's and the prince's voices are strained whenever they attempt humor. Their minds are obviously elsewhere, and it's not a happy place. Arturo, on the other hand, seems calm. We all celebrate our power in different ways, I suppose. Now, what is this about? Just a moment. Over here, Addison. The Camarilla's infamous spokesman approaches, pushed towards us in a wheelchair by his servant. Pain servant. And he's got a blind thing on. Is that for the costume or is that a thing that he's doing? Now I can see his eye right there. Helena, everyone. I certainly hope this is something important. What a commanding tone. Seeing as Payne can't communicate normally, his servant relays his words to us instead, and he's posh and snobby enough to make me believe I'm listening to his master's voice, probably because you are. What clan is Sturbridge? Aisling Sturbridge is a Tremere. She is the regent for the Chantry of the Five Boroughs. I think it's the only chantry in New York City, rather, and she is the signature character in the clan novel Tremere, which I believe is the 11th book in the series, if I'm not mistaken. Which, if you guys don't know, I do a podcast called The Beckoning with the Primogen and Josh from Strange Adventures and Harry, who's a Salubri cat on YouTube, and we are reading through all of the clan novel books. We're on book 5, Ventrue. Aizen is from Bleach, okay. I don't know any of them, I'm so sorry. I'm one of the very few people on this planet who doesn't know anything about anime. Kata won't be joining us. Don't give me more voices to do.
He gave me a fair warning he might not make it tonight. I've messaged him the details.
I'll have to find time to meet him later, then. Finding time, searching for lost time, I swear it's all I do nowadays. And there's never enough.
I guess now you understand why I insisted that this event must last all week. So many esteemed guests, many of them from out of town, each deserving at least a few hours.
The figure in the wheelchair waves his hand impatiently. Yes, let's just cut to the chase now, shall we? That might be the wisest course of action. My prince?
Arturo?
My prince, everyone, let me begin by stressing these important points. The situation is largely under control, the negotiations are underway, and the situation is more tense than dangerous. We are safe. Let me repeat, we are safe. And with that out of the way, here's the big news. Baron Callahan, de facto leader of Anarchs in New York City, met his final death in his office tonight. Ellipses. How did you find out? We have a good friend near his office. Their intel is as accurate as it gets. We've also established a negotiation channel with the Anarchs. They gave us all the confirmation we needed. Was our court involved in his destruction? I look at her in disbelief. So does everyone else. Not that the same thought hasn't passed through my head, but to simply exclaim it like that. Oh, spare me the virtue signaling. I thought we were being transparent here. I don't give a damn if we took care of Callahan or not. I just want to have a clear idea of what I'm dealing with. Yes, a clear answer. I need that too.
To my knowledge, none of us present here ordered his destruction, nor did we participate in it. Unless someone wants to confess, it's now or never.
Of course, nobody speaks up. Arturo pretends to clear his throat. That's our official position as well. The Camarilla's ruling body had nothing to do with it, and for all intents and purposes, his Anarch contenders had more interest in removing him than we did.
That interest is sure to manifest in one way now. His former enemies will prop him up as a martyr for his cause.
Yes, which is why we sadly can't just leave the Anarchs to their own devices. As much as we'd like to avoid recognizing their sect in any way, we've offered to assist them in an official investigation. Addison Payne's wrinkled face contorts slightly. Let me just ask you one question. You do realize those curs have no respect for our traditions, yes?
We do, Addison. But as a veteran politician, you should be deeply familiar with the words controlled opposition.
Yes. For now, it's impossible to fully contain the Anarch threat in New York. For now, our only option is to prop up a candidate who will offer the least resistance to our future plans for the city. Woo! There may be 5 chantries in New York, but there's only one in New York City, the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, as far as I am aware. Shinigami, which in Japanese myth are death gods. Okay, I have seen some of Death Note, if that helps. So is Torque going to be in charge of the Anarch? Didn't he die? Didn't Torque die? Or am I remembering that wrong? Notice that Peen's servant is blindfolded so he can't see the faces of the Camarilla. I love the attention to details. Well, he does have like a little slit for his eye, so I guess so he can still see and stuff. I don't know. We extend our hand to the most promising contender, giving him, or her, come on, be equal opportunity here, a way to present himself as a diplomat, a man of reasonable compromise. The rabble falls in line, the purists grow angry and alienated. We've already contacted the best possible person in their sect. He will oversee the investigation, and it's in his best interest to show he's able to resolve the situation calmly. Isn't that good enough? Addison ponders the question for a while, then waves his hand again. It is. Proceed. Funny thing, nobody's paying any attention to me right now. Keep in mind, Mr. Payne, our man's people will still barely tolerate us, and the situation is volatile. The other factions within that sorry excuse for a sect might still try to escalate the conflict. I will do my best to solve this situation as fast as possible. How so? Kadir is momentarily taken aback by Arturo's question. I volunteer to coordinate the case with the Anarchs, of course. I refuse. You have more important duties to focus on, like doing my hair. My God. How did she come into power again? I haven't really looked into her. Torque escaped. He did? Okay, I didn't remember that. Plus, it's a way to distance his servants from being considered the person to... Yeah, absolutely, Harkin. Absolutely. Once more, Kadir is stunned. All due respect, Prince, but if you don't consider me capable of tackling this issue and attending to my usual duties at the same time, I think you gravely underestimate me. Your penchant for working yourself to the bone is well known and appreciated by everyone in this room, Sheriff, but so is your perfectionism. If we do grant your wish and let you investigate while still fulfilling your routine obligations, can you guarantee you're going to give both these tasks your best? I can guarantee something very close to my best. Close to your best doesn't cut it, Al-Azmai, not when the vultures are out in force. Callahan's destruction is sure to cause unrest among the Anarchs, and there's an obvious outlet for their pent-up rage. I want to make this perfectly clear. The celebrations will continue as planned, no matter what. This is why your presence here is absolutely necessary, Sheriff. We rely on your constant protection. Hiccup. Reading out loud always gives me the hiccups. Of course, my prince. We must be on constant vigil for a few days. Al-Azmai's sword must be constantly pointed at the enemies around us, surrounding us even. The timing of the Baron's destruction is impeccable. The Anarch leaders are sure to point at us and claim we're shamelessly celebrating his end. Does anybody believe it's just a coincidence? Murders are messy, almost as messy as politics. It's impossible to reliably predict the outcome of any violent action. I think it'd be wise of us to brace for a lot of unfortunate coincidences, Aisling. In any case, the rabble can't get the impression that their power struggles are of great concern to us. But they also can't think that we have something to hide, which brings me to my point. We do need a symbolic gesture, one displaying expertly measured intensity. My best bet is a humble diplomatic envoy, a low-level official acting as an investigator of sorts. Who could that be? Who could they possibly have in mind? I would love to see cameos from Victor Temple, Jasper, and the rest of this game. I don't know. It's very hard to travel nowadays in Modern Knights. They don't really explain what's going on, where these kindred are coming in from New York. I suppose if they're coming in from Europe or something, they can maybe hang out in a container in a ship. But it's very hard with the Second Inquisition now to travel because they're looking for blank bodies, so they don't really go into too much depth of how that's happening. It seems there are Anarch uprisings everywhere now in LA and New York. Yeah. In general, the Anarchs are, grumpy because, you know, Theo Bell pretty much took out the leader of the Camarilla, and, you know, yeah, they're just sick of the elders having control over everything, and they want to do what they want to do, and it's just history repeating itself. It's exactly what happened the first time the Inquisition rolled around, so it's nothing surprising. I implore you, Prince.
Kadir. He bites his tongue and struggles to collect himself. I rarely see him lose his temper, at least where the Camarilla is involved. What's going on? I wonder about your suggestion for this role. After all, it's not particularly prestigious, but carries a lot of responsibility. We're still talking about a Camarilla representative.
Oh, I think there's a very obvious candidate.
Both he and Kadir look at me simultaneously. Everyone else in the room does too.
Now wait a second. He can't possibly mean, oh, but he can.
Miss Julia, once again your full name eludes me at the moment.
Am I allowed to speak, or maybe I should wait for permission? Before I make up my mind, the sheriff sighs deeply and speaks up.
Sowinski. Miss Julia Sowinski, right. I understand you used to be an investigative journalist before your embrace.
And what about it? That was a long time ago. Not really, but I think I'm going to say that anyway. It'll have to be a prequel. The Giovanni run JFK Airport in the New York book. Yeah. But that was back in the 90s. And things are different now. I think Arturo sees an opening to use the chaos to make him the next king of the Camarilla. Who is running the Camarilla right now? It's, what's his name? Karl Schrecht, I think, is the guy who's in charge now. I could be wrong about that. Or is that the guy who's in charge of the Tremere? I can't remember. I really can't. It used to be Hardestad, but Hardestad's dead now, so. I'm really bad. While I'm playing this game, I'm forgetting all my lore. Which is so strange, because I spend so much time with my head buried in the lore. And that was a long time ago, in a life I don't want to revisit.
I understand. Still, among others, the Banu Hakim Primogen insisted that you are worthy of greater privileges and should be given a chance to prove yourself.
Samira measures Arturo with suspicion.
Yes.
Do you still think she's capable?
She looks me deep in the eye. I swear she's telepathically trying to tell me, please, please, please don't fuck this up, you dumbass little white girl.
Of course.
Good. And I'm sure that you, Al-Azmai, have no problem with your protege embarking on this mission, save for the pain a mother feels when watching her child leave the nest. What an asshole. Whether I do or don't is not particularly important right now, is it? It absolutely is.
Panhard's backing of Arturo momentarily blindsides him. He has to have some inkling that she's bloodbound to him or something, or at least in cahoots with him.
Prince Panhard, If Arturo's plan is reckless, I want you to tell me. I need a simple yes or no answer. Is the girl capable?
Now he knows he's left with no choice. I wouldn't entrust her with all the responsibilities that I have if she wasn't. He exchanges glances with me, but his look is different than Samira's. It's as if he's trying to apologize to me. Here we are then, a recommendation from the Banu Hakim Primogen and the sheriff. To tell you the truth, I was just throwing out ideas, but with this backing, I can't doubt the Night Clan's representative will get the job done. I'm certain each of us feels the same. Mr. Payne? The atmosphere in the room mostly suggests people are glad they don't have to discuss the topic further. A shrug here, an averted gaze there. It is as you say. I will watch the way she handles the situation with great interest. Well then, Miss Sowinski, looks like you've got your chance for a big break. Nobody asked me, I think. Just tell me what to do. Yeah, just point me in the right direction and tell me what to do. No point in pretending I have a choice here, is there? Excellent. That leaves us with only one more matter, which I hope we can agree on. Prince Panhard signals someone with their hand. The figure emerges from behind the corner. Yay! Yay! Good evening. Katerina, what a pleasant surprise.
Nobody informed us you were in town. Addison, looking healthier than ever. And what does visa have to do with it?
We need an impartial observer who everyone respects, and as it happens, Katarina always knew how to make friends on both sides without angering either. They spelled her name with a C here, and that threw me off for a second.
I beg to differ. I'd be grateful if just for once you decided against throwing a tantrum about me, High Regent. A painful grimace crosses Ashling's face, but she is quick to interrupt the taunt as an invitation to a game she can't possibly win. As long as she can prove herself useful to the proceedings in some way. If half of what I heard about her from Mr. Vanderweyden is true, she should be able to. And what did poor Kata say about me this time? Nothing specific. One always has to read between the lines with him, but it was mostly envy. Miss Visa gracefully agreed to mediate between the Anarch representative and the Lasombra representative, ensuring mutual cooperation and mitigating potential conflicts. That felt like a Freudian slip. Lasombra representative, not Camarilla representative, i.e. someone who can be catapulted from the sect without much damage to the ivory tower if they mess up. Is there a meeting set up? Arturo looks at the clock on the other side of the room. In less than an hour. You'd better hurry then. What the hell? All of this is happening so fast. If the situation is indeed under control, I will drive her and oversee the situation. Out of the question. You've got your order, Sheriff. Attend to those. You fool. The girl needs guidance.
And we need yours. Nobody knows what might happen next.
But it's not as if the Anarchs have a lot of love for you, Alasmai. You're too efficient in your duties for them to tolerate you. Better spare Miss Sawinski having them to see you two together. Do you think my guidance of Julia would be lacking, Kadir? I never said that. So, do you have any objections to putting her under my care? He lowers his gaze, but seems reassured. I'm so happy that Catherine's here. Ekaterina! I love her. I think Arturo wants to make Julia go between for the Anarchs and the Camarilla, stalling the Anarchs long enough for him to make his behind-the-scenes chess moves and then blaming everyone on her. Yeah, that sounds like him. Sounds like an asshole thing he would do. God, I hate that guy. She both young and expendable. Aren't we all? None whatsoever. That's all I needed to hear. We'll be going then.
Wasting no time as usual, I see. Have you at least tried the aperitifs?
Waiting is an old person's game, Helene. I still feel young.
Remember, if there's anything you need help with.
Probably not, but I appreciate the thought nevertheless. Have a great night, everyone. I'll catch up with you later, Addison. I certainly hope you do. And so we leave, in a rush. Funny, considering what she told me about being in a hurry yesterday. Ding! We're here. She thanks the chauffeur and lets me out of the car into a quiet neighborhood somewhere in Queens. Seemed like you were in a rush. I couldn't stand the crowd. She's honest. Probably performatively so, just to get into my good graces. Well, it's working. And why is that? In my experience, gatherings like these, or like those, always enable a boring pack mentality. All the familiar lies we tell ourselves to justify lusting for more, repeated ad nauseum. What lies are you telling yourself? Her aura immediately turns colder. You have bigger issues to worry about, sweetheart. Ah, well, at least I know how familiar I can get with her. That I do. Back at the art hole, you said something about guiding me, but I have zero idea what to do. None whatsoever. I had a few necessary arrangements to make over the phone before we got here, to ensure your pretty little head stays attached to your neck. For now, anyway. I am grateful, but I still feel way out of my depth. I need to know what to do. You used to make a living as an investigative journalist, did you not? Investigate the murder. In TV shows where an investigative journalist gets too close to the heart of a politically incendiary case, it rarely goes well. A cat's head on their porch, a bullet to the head. So, are you afraid you might be a pawn in a game you don't understand? That your elders consider you a disposable asset? That a single wrong move might cost you everything you hold dear? That sounds about right, yeah. Well, by the sound of it, you understand your situation perfectly. Don't belittle me. I need your advice. Be anything you want, but don't be boring, Julia. If I wanted to belittle you, I would have drowned you in platitudes long ago. Know thyself. Believe in your strength. Trust no one. Act confident. Turn the chessboard around and read your opponent's mind. Read Sun Tzu and quote him incessantly. Say, do you feel any better now? Can I ask you something? Seeing as Mia is still not here. Oh, it's Mia's coming. Okay. That's right. She would be one of the Anarchs that they would talk to. Of course. I have a really weird voice for Mia, so I hope you don't mind that. Do you know who killed Baron Callahan? I haven't the slightest idea. Were you emotionally impacted by his death? Not at all. Did you know him? Only passingly, I'm afraid. I expected him to perish sooner than later, so I never bothered to improve our relationship. Why are you helping me? Am I? That remains to be seen. What do you mean? You do not want a painfully honest answer. But I do. She stares me down. Her irreverent tone makes it impossible to guess what she's feeling, even more so than the mask. When I look at you, I see someone pitiful, someone whose hunger is purely biological, just an animalistic rush. When I saw a burgeoning plan to put you in a situation that is way beyond your capabilities, I offered my help. I was curious to see your true colors reveal themselves firsthand. When everything is said and done and Callahan's killer is pointed out, will you be a whimpering animal or a victor taking the spoils? I cannot wait to find out. I don't know what to say. Is she provoking me or... Mia should be here any second. You have time for one more question. What makes you important? Come on, be our best friend. Let's reestablish the Sabbat here in New York together. No, I'm kidding. Or maybe I'm not kidding. What do you do to hold so much sway over the city? I have the best occupation in the world, and I made sure nobody is better at it than I am. Where's Christoph? And that occupation is a socialite. And that was your last question. Direct the rest of them to her. A woman around my age emerges from around the corner of the street. I have a weird voice for Mia. I did it back in Coteries and I'm going to do it again. I've never met her before, but if I had to describe her in 2 words by her aura alone, I'd guess those words would be permanently angry, even more so than your average Anarch. You must be Catherine Visa. And you must be Mia Morgan. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. The pleasure's mutual. This your girl? Julia Sovinsky, the Lasombra primogen. The Lasombra representative. I correct her automatically. At this point, it's a habit. Good. If you were a primogen, I might have tried to kill you here and now. Is Torque still on the site? Nah. I told him I'd take it from here. By the end of tonight, he needs to look like a natural candidate for the leader of the New York City Anarchs. It's going to take a lot of driving around and negotiations. How did he react to finding Callahan's remains? He hasn't exactly elaborated on his feelings, but I expect he reacted the same way every true believer in the cause did. It's this complicated mess of all the possible feelings under the moon. So he was the first one who to the murder site? He was the first one who to the murder site. Okay. Oh, so you're already calling it a murder site? Does the ivory tower know something we don't? It's not the official position, but I expect a lot of them think it's Torque who stood to benefit the most from the boss's death, and it sounds like he's quick to jump on new opportunities. Vampires like to play hard to get. I think it's a dominance thing. Let's do it. Sabat in New York again. I know. Just wanted to be my best friend. You don't know him. Yes, but I'd love to meet him and ask him some questions, especially if he was the one who found the body. Well, if you're meeting Torque at all, it won't be tonight. It's too busy. I was assigned to investigate. I won't be able to do it properly if I'm not able to question a key witness. I'll arrange for him to see you this week. This week? Aren't the tensions a little too high for delaying an investigation like this? Well, Torque's work is our best shot at making sure they won't get higher, so boo fucking who. I'm his right-hand woman, though. You got any questions? Direct them at me. Maybe the two of you should just head to Callahan's office. The discussion here does not seem to be going in the right direction, nor in a particularly interesting one. You're not coming? Torque and you are not the only ones who have their work cut out for them tonight. I trust you can take it from here. And Mia, be easy on her. In slightly different circumstances, I expect the two of you would have ended up on the same side of the barricades. Uh-huh. Take care. She heads back to her vehicle. They forgot a word there, yeah. I'm not sure what exactly the sentence was they were going for. What else is it going to be? Vampires are immortal. How else would have died? Slipping on a banana peel? I know! Why else would it be murder? Unless it's either... For Kindred, it's either murder or suicide. You can't have it both ways. I gave Mia an old school standoffish Brooklyn accent. I can't do a Brooklyn accent. If you can't tell, I can't do any accents. I just make them up. And they're all awful. But it makes me laugh on the inside, so that's all that matters, I guess. It's the attempt that counts, I suppose. Well, follow me. I'll show you his place. It's a 19th century style office. Classical, wooden, smelly. Is that a dead body? The stuffy air of books, old furniture, and dust covers much of the fragrance of decay, but not all of it. Why is there a dead body there? If Callahan's dead, shouldn't he have disintegrated into ash? I'm confused. This is the first time I've seen the remains of a vampire who has met final death. I heard stories of really old kindred crumbling to dust, but that's an exaggeration. At least it didn't happen here. When kindred die, time catches up with them. If you offed me right now, I'd probably turn into an ugly, leaky corpse. But Callahan was well over a century old. It's looking like a dapper mummy. It's like looking at a dapper mummy. Okay, I guess he wasn't as old as I thought he was. I think Callahan got killed by that Malkavian chick with the giant scissors from the first game. Hope? Or the other one? I can't do good New York accents. A desiccated body in a heap of musty clothes, all that is left of the mighty boss Douglas Callahan, Anarch Baron of New York City, if that's really him. Needless to say, it might be a little hard to establish the time of death or the cause, especially as his garb doesn't have any obvious damage. What a great place to start. Let's start at the beginning, a very good place to start. Have you already found anything suspicious? Nothing you don't see in front of you. Uh-huh. This door is the only point of entry to the room, right? Yes, unless you count the windows, but nobody except for Callahan knew how to operate those, and they don't let air or light through. Metal blinders on the windows facing east, the only modern element of the room sticking out like a sore thumb. They look automated. Was the door open when Torque got here? Well, that's the one suspicious thing. It wasn't. It's as if Callahan locked himself in from the inside. Doubt it. A closed room murder, huh? There's some glass scattered on the floor. I point at it. Could that be from the window? I checked it from the outside. It's in perfect condition. So what's this glass? I have no idea. Why does it seem like she has her suspicions, but is remaining uncooperative just because, fuck off Camarilla scum? I checked the next point of interest, a wall safe, surprisingly large. I play with the lock a bit. What's the combination? It's Callahan, so it makes you think I know. At least I tried. A desk with nothing but an envelope on it, nothing inside. I check all the drawers. Every single one has been thoroughly emptied. I don't know what I expected. Is this how the Anarchs go around securing crime scenes? Were these emptied before Torque arrived? I don't know, but I wouldn't accuse him of tampering with evidence if I were you. Well, thank you. The decor of the room is pretty minimal, so there's not a lot of points of interest that could illuminate the case. I start getting nervous. I point at the painting on the wall. Of course, you have no idea who that is. Callahan's ancestor, I guess? I'm out of ideas. Everything I look at feels like another dead end. I'm frustrated. I feel as if I failed this investigation before it has even started. There must be something more. I start walking around, trying to find a single clue. Mia just watches me indifferently. Give me anything. Anything, goddammit. Anything. Any... ghost. Any ghost. Yeah, obviously if you're from New York, you can do a New York accent pretty good. A shadow blinks in and out of existence near Callahan's remains. I freeze in place. Let's do ellipses. See if it shows me something. I'm afraid to speak up so that I don't startle whatever or whoever that was. You done here? Doesn't seem like Mia noticed it. Give me just a moment more. She groans under her nose and goes back to messaging someone on her phone. When she does, the shadow appears again. Hi. Once again, blink in, blink out. Could something be there? I approach the clothes and start searching them for a clue. Maybe they missed something. Getting desperate, huh? Just being thorough. We've searched the bastard like 3 times. He had nothing of interest on him. How about this? A small card, barely noticeable, looking a bit like a shopping list, is shoved deep into an almost invisible hole in the fabric. I take it out and show it to Mia. Huh, you didn't plant that there, did you? No, did you? Shove off. What's on it? Oh, excuse me. It's a list of 4 names. D'Angelo, Hope, Agathon, Tamika. Oh, those names sound familiar. Agathon's my least favorite out of that list. Not that it matters. There's a ghost. Callahan wouldn't have a ghost because kindred don't, they don't become wraiths, unfortunately. Any idea what this is about? Beats me. She's lying, but I don't care. Tomorrow night I will meet up with Kadir and ask him to help me figure it out. Think I'm done here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Guess she sees me as nothing more but an enemy agent. When will I get to meet with Torque? If, and that's a big if, he will agree to meet you a one-on-one basis, Katerina will let you know. He probably won't let a loyal Camarilla lapdog like you see him without her oversight anyway. A Camarilla lapdog, huh? It's a risky play, of course, and might backfire, but maybe I'd benefit if I put my loyalty to the court into question. Nah, not worth it. Playing for both sides sounds like a recipe for trouble. Just too risky and stressful. Pass. Trait updated. Who am I really? Oh, what did I do? Oh, what? What did I do? Loyal to the end. Okay. Oop, I don't know what I did. I gave her a trait of loyalty, apparently, to the Camarilla. I see. Well, have a good night. I didn't pay any more attention to that. I just thought that was just dialogue. Oops. I apologize. Do they immediately become specters? No. Kindred are already dead. When they meet the final death, they just become dead. There is no ghost left to have. As far as we are aware, there is no evidence in any lore that kindred pass on anywhere, as far as we know. They definitely don't pass on to the Shadowlands, as far as we know. It's getting late or early, depending on how you look at it. Once I leave Callahan's office, I head straight to Dakota's apartment. I could go into, like, reasoning and stuff, you know, like, mages and what they believe that, you know, the avatar and the soul and stuff. It's something that kindred lack, because they're dead. Like, if you take a mage and you embrace them as a kindred, they'll lose their connection to their ability to do magic. Which is why the Tremere develop blood magic, but they lose their connection. They can no longer do magic. If you took a mage and embraced them into, say, the Toreador clan, they may be able to learn thaumaturgy, but they won't be able to do what they did before. They won't be able to access quintessence and things like other things that mages can do. It's getting late or early, depending on how you look at it. Once I leave Callahan's office, I head straight to Dakota's apartment. I try to sneak by to my bedroom, but she's up waiting for me. How was your night? Shit. Tomorrow. What happened? You look like something the cat dragged in. Tomorrow, I promise. But I'm worried. Don't be. Tomorrow. How many times does she have to say it? She gives me a concerned look, then closes her eyes, slumps her shoulders, and frowns. All right. You're the best. Whoa! I reach my pitch black room and throw myself on the bed. The responsibilities, the stakes, the way I always feel too slow to react properly in these situations. I don't want to think. I want to turn off my brain. I want to drift into the void. Into the void, into the void, into the void. Accidental PI. Oh, God. Okay, so I have time for... can we not do this? Do we have to go rest? You need to rest. Okay. Say about 30 minutes more. Ah, okay. We get a little tutorial here. So they're just completely gone then. Sounds like when they get embraced, the human soul is already left. Yeah. The thing is that they're not human anymore. That's the big thing. It's why kindred have to hang on to their humanity, because they aren't human anymore. They're dead and they've been reborn as anew as a vampire, as something other than human. There's, as far as I am aware, and I could be wrong, the only way to achieve some sort of transcendence as a vampire or some sort of peace is achieving achieving the state of Golconda. And what that necessarily means does not necessarily mean that it can mean lots of things. In certain parts of lore, it means that they have total control over their beast, and certain parts of lore say that achieving Golconda means you can go back to being human. It depends, but there's no real concrete evidence in the lore, and unless you believe the story of Saulot, and even then, vampires are the most unreliable of storytellers, so it's hard to know. So this was all the prologue, yeah. Now we're finally going to jump into the game. Whether the human soul is transformed into a vampire soul. It could be Junk Bucket, but that doesn't necessarily mean a vampire soul goes into the Shadowlands. You just don't know. You have received your first trait. Some choices in the game will push Julia towards different ways of thinking, which will have a lasting effect on her throughout the story. You will see a brief pop-up on the top of the screen anytime that you receive a new trait. You can always view any unlocked traits in the log screen, access to the top left icon. Yeah, but it doesn't tell me what the traits mean. Remember that ruthlessness is the mark of a true Lasombra, but you might walk another path before reaching that destination. Yeah, but it doesn't tell me what loyal to the end means. It doesn't say, so I don't know. Woo! What happened? Did I hit rest by accident? Okay. I didn't mean to. What? Always told you you'd make it big. Get real. These assholes are just using me as a pawn in some stupid fourth-dimensional chess game. As opposed to just keeping you off the chessboard? Don't be a glass-half-empty buzzkill. Watch them make me a scapegoat or something. That would be exciting. I would write a book about living with a 21st century Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on, don't even joke like that. I haven't killed anyone. Julia, honey, neither did Oswald. Oh, God. It's one of those conspiracy people. I can't even with that. Yeah, right. I keep forgetting. Stop wriggling or I'll mess your face up. Sorry. I'm always obedient when she's busy working on my makeup. It's hard to take care of your appearance, especially your face, when you can't even see yourself in the mirror. Not that I've ever been particularly good at it, but Dakota doesn't seem to mind. I'm her goth dress-up doll. Her presence in my unlife is one of the few good things that my sire provided for me before fucking off to Chicago. Okay, good. Normally I'd be told to find myself a ghoul, but many of our clan, myself included, finds the idea of ghouls distasteful. That is true. They look so cute together, I know. But who would want to return to being human? You'd be surprised. In the originals, Nick Klaus always found it silly that his sister wanted to become human again, and I agree with that sentiment. We can speak that way now as, as people, but what it's like to lose our humanity, I don't know if any of us know what that really feels like. Or to die and come back to life. I think you had a chance to betray the Camarilla, but by not saying anything, you somehow remained loyal. Okay. The CIA shot Kennedy. I can't with that. I just can't. We're cat people, not dog people. We don't want mindlessly faithful servants. We want companions who rely on us despite having, in theory anyway, the free will not to. The kind of relationship I have with Dakota would normally be a breach of the Masquerade's rules, but the rules are different for kindred who are Camarilla adjacent, even losers like me. Simplifying here, but my sire made it clear that her child would not own slaves, and that was the end of the discussion. To be honest, I think the court mostly agreed to that request because they wanted one more thing to blackmail me with, just in case. What would you do in my place? If I had to investigate your elite's wrongdoings? Yeah. I'd probably look for those rich fuck pedophile rings, look for the assholes who mention pizza suspiciously often, see you as powerful friends in Manhattan jails, stuff like that. Look for more than one shooter on the grassy knoll. Oh, come on. Nah, I'm serious. Search for the deep rot, and a lot of smaller crimes will get solved in the process. What is it with you and conspiracy theories? What do you mean? You just told me your bosses are having eyes wide shut parties, and suddenly you don't believe in rich people's pedophile rings? I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. My point is, you act as if all the conspiracy theories are real. Like, you can't possibly believe all that shit. Half of it doesn't even make sense. There is, in case anybody wants to know, it was Magneto. That's why he's locked up in Days of Future Past. So, right, yeah, I do like the originals a lot. I haven't watched it in forever, but I did really like it when it first came out. I always thought that Revenants would make good servants for Lasombras. Yeah, I guess so, since they are Gould families with their own powers. I don't know, they probably associate with them with the Tsimichi and find them distasteful. There's a really good study that, if you've never read it, that it shows, like, it's a formula actually for how long conspiracy theories would take to unravel because of the amount of people who would have to cover it up. Like, there are people who believe that the moon landing didn't happen, and it's something like over 400,000 people would have had to have kept their mouth shut for such and such amount of time. And in reality, if it was fake, it would have taken 3 years for that conspiracy to unravel, 3 years and some change. So I really can't get behind conspiracy theories, because there are real theories that have turned out to not be conspiracy theories. They're real, but they break down so quickly that they don't get left as a conspiracy theory for very long. One above a human sort of thing, yeah. That's basic. Revenants are... Victor in LA by Night calls ghouls, Thin Bloods ghouls 2.0, but really Revenants are ghouls 2.0. Well, you want an interesting answer or a real answer? The real answer should be the more interesting one. She removes her brush from my face to gather her thoughts. Everyone's lost nowadays. Just look at the world. It's drowning in facts that fail to cohere into a single convincing narrative or a story that resonates. The corporate media wants you to believe in empirical thinking, but it always fails to deliver moral or metaphysical truths, and the people desperately lack those. So what do? They turn to conspiracists, and suddenly they are able to navigate the world. And why is that? Because conspiracy theories give them emotional truths that serve as a compass. That's so... whatever. Let's just move on. Is Bill Gates trying to insert satanic microchips into my body? Probably not. I hope not. She should be a Malkavian. Some Malkavian. Get a Malkavian in here to embrace her. Now, is he a terrible person? No idea, but there's ample evidence that might be the case. It's in his ruthless business strategies, the company he used to keep, the philosophy he follows. People look at him and they feel he's fishy. Yeah, all that money he's given away and spent to, you know, curing diseases. So when the media present him as a genius or a savior, and I post that he wants to put the mark of the beast in my body, they choose to believe me. That's good. That's great. Awesome. Because it makes moral, emotional, and metaphysical sense to them, and ultimately that's what matters the most. The end. Oh, God. What? Nah, I don't buy it. I'm not giving into this thing. I don't care how much you love her. Ugh. I don't buy it, like, at all. But since it's you saying it, I will just say it's cute. That's good enough for me. Good enough for me. You came up with this monologue yourself? Oh, no. I read it on Facebook. Cringe. Oh, figures. I haven't used Facebook in, like, 8 years. But just to make sure, vaccines are okay? Well, as far as I know, they don't cause autism. Good to hear. Ugh. Anywho, I'm done. Please, let's be done with this whole thing. You're the best. Yeah, considering how many times I've done makeup on a dead body, I probably have enough job experience to be a mortician by now. Now that sounds like an exciting career, but in reality, it is probably the most boring thing under the sun. Yeah, I like my corpses talkative, pouty, and self-loathing. Shut up. This carcass will be leaving now. It's got a job to do. Go get him, Tiger. First thing I need to do, meet up with Kadir tonight and report to him. Hope he knows how to guide me out of this mess. Oh, calm down, Goebbels. God. He should have time for me in an hour or two. In the meantime, I suppose it's time to find some, what's the most dehumanizing word I could use here? Nourishment. Kadir told me I need to quench my hunger less often if I didn't smoke. It kills you, he said, but to start killing itself, your organism must pretend it's alive, and that uses up precious vitae. Okay, I'm sorry. The way that sentence was constructed confused me. I get it. But I love cigarettes. The way they smell, the way they burn, the hot ash falling from the top, the sound of the lighter. As a person who smokes, nobody loves the way that they smell. I don't know who wrote that dialogue, but it can't come from somebody who actually smokes. It doesn't smell great. The way they kill you, of course. Okay, sure. And I guess I need some tactile connection to who I was back when I was alive. That makes more sense. Okay, New York City, guide my steps. Show me which one of your children I should drink up tonight. Ah, this is the girl from the, This is the girl that they showed us when we went to Da Club, and she said that she wasn't a human, and she wasn't a vampire, and she wasn't a ghost. So, who is she? I want to know really, really bad. Who's this guy? Slap on the wrist. Samira is asking me to meet her, if not... Oh, and I like Samira too. Oh, no. Bunny as a reporter. The note left on my old dead drop point reads, Bunny as a reporter. What does... Shit, could it be Woods? Alright, I have no connection to who this person is, so I don't care. So I'm fine with either one of these. I either want to go see Samira because she's awesome, or I want to know who this person is who we briefly saw for like half of a second when we were into club the other night. So I'll let you guys pick. Wasn't she just a walking blood bag? Who? No, it literally showed an image of her and said that she wasn't a human and she wasn't a ghost and she wasn't a vampire. So I'm dying to know who the hell she is. She ain't human. I mean, you could say she's a mage, but mages are mortal, so... I guess... So, what, a werewolf? Werewolves are part human. The girl? Okay. Let's go do it. No blood, no matter how exquisite, is worth suffering through this noise. Something terrible must have happened to the previous DJ. It had to be sudden and unexpected for them to hire this amateur under the wire. She was Sophie's favorite blood doll? Oh, that's who that is? Oh my god. Okay, well now I'm even more excited. I'm even more excited now. I remember. I just didn't remember that's what she looked like at all. Zero ability to read the crowd, no sense of flow, as if that constant flashing wasn't migraine-inducing enough by itself. Not that I remember how an ordinary headache feels. I know the hunger, though, which is why I'm here tonight. Boop. A purple-haired girl bumps into me, head down, tears flowing down her cheeks, hands trembling. As much as I'd understand it, I don't think it's the guy at the turntables that made her like this. Oof. Oh, I'm so sorry. She bolts before I can say a single word. Well, who am I to blame her? A tactical retreat probably felt like a good idea. The trace of cheap booze in every potential vessel is faint, but ever present. At this point, the smell is all I'm getting. Come to think of it, I can barely remember how alcohol tastes. Maybe I should remind myself. Nah, that's dumb. But the bar's pretty much free of people at the moment. I get closer and take a peek at the drinks menu. These are some goofy fucking names, especially from a kindred's perspective. Order the Bloody Margaret. The Vampiro. Put the menu back. No, we're gonna order something. I'm saying let's order the Vampiro, because it kind of sounds like vampires and vino. Which is, of course, Jason Carl's handle online. Get the chance to drink from her in the beginning of Coders. Yeah, I remembered her after you guys said that. Changeling? Uh-huh, could be. I'm gonna say we go with Vampiro. That's the one I'm picking. After a short while, the crackling of the ice cubes announces the arrival of the sparkling blend. It should be some sort of wine, what is it called? Wine spritzer or mixer or whatever. The tall glass garnished with an orange slice and chili pepper contains enough fruit and juice to successfully mask the smell of tequila. Mazel tov. I chug it down in one go. It tastes like an awful mix of all kinds of Nesbitt soda, topped off with a hint of fermented cactus pulp. She must have activated Blush of Life already. Something tells me I'm going to regret it soon. The music abruptly stops just as I step away from the bar. I can't see the booth, but the crowd's reaction tells me all I need to know. Looks like we have a new DJ. The vibe immediately improves. Hallelujah. But pleasant moments never last. Some well-worn dude on the wrong side of 40 decides to hit me up. Our eyes meet for a brief moment, slightly too late for me to outmaneuver him. Strangely, there's no lust in his gaze, and yet he seems like a predator closing in on its prey. Shit, could he be the rumored diva's delight? A kiss addict clocking me as a bloodsucker. How come you're here all alone, sweetheart? I can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but there's something irksome in the way he carries himself. As he approaches me, I begin to feel fatigued, like there was a sudden drop in atmospheric pressure. I'm just gonna ignore him. I want to see if he does something else weird. I'm curious now. I turn my back to him, hoping he'll get the message. He doesn't. I can feel his eyes burning holes in my skull. Sure enough, when I look again, he's still there. I feel spiders crawling up my spine. Is there something wrong? Here, let me. Hands off, asshole. Ooh. Twist his wrist. Yes. That'd probably cause a scene, but I think we should do it anyway. Yes, I'm aware vampiro means vampire. I'm pretty sure it means that in Spanish as well. DJ Carl. Yes, it's also yeah, I knew that. I think I'm gonna twist his wrist. I don't know if that's gonna give me a trait of some kind, making me more violent or something, or it's gonna cause a masquerade violation, but he's unwanted. Back off. She said back off. I grab his wrist, did I not get hungrier? In a tight grip and started twisting until I feel the snap of a dislocated joint. He screams in pain, but fortunately the music drowns it out. As soon as I let go of his hand, he runs for the exit. He stares me down before leaving, and I can't help but sense something worse than fear in his eyes. Makes me feel uncomfortable. As if meeting that asshole didn't strain me enough, an acrid feeling rises in my gut, instantly making me nauseous. Well, obviously, I can barely make it to the nearest empty lounge before I begin violently throwing up. For a minute straight, I spray the couch with the remnants of that wretched cocktail. It's not a pleasant sight. I get a hold of myself as soon as my stomach empties. Shit, Julia, your life had more than its fair share of avoidable embarrassments. Is it necessary for your unlife to follow suit? Time to bail and not look back, so we don't get to eat. Right before I reach the exit, the purple-haired girl from earlier bumps into me once again. Hiccup. This time, I know it's not coincidental. Wait, please. She seems startled, but gives me a pleading look. I saw what you did to that man. Are you one of them? What are you talking about? Who's them? She bares her teeth and taps the side of her neck. Oh, I get it. So you're the diva's delight. She blushes innocently, like I just caught her stealing cookies. Yes, it sounds silly, I know, but I thought it would attract some of your kind. Always been told I taste good. Not by the Ventrue character in Coteries. Would you like to try? She looks at me the same way a junkie who hasn't had his hit for a while looks at a syringe. You know too much. There's no way you don't have a patron of some sort. Her eyes tear up again. I do, but maybe I don't. I don't know anymore. He shows up whenever he wants, then disappears for weeks. I don't even know his name. We were supposed to meet here tonight, but I guess he didn't show up. The girl keeps talking. Now that she has found somebody new to open up to, any instinct she might have had to remain secretive is gone. Makes you wonder who thought it was a good idea to breach the masquerade for her. Before him, I used to have a caregiver. She was one of the divas too, but she was exceptional, noble. I think she cared about me in a way. She always complimented the way I taste. Would you like to try? She clings to my arm like I am Jesus Christ and Kurt Cobain at the same time, descended from heaven exclusively to turn her misery to bliss. I can't help but feel some disdain. Please, I promise you won't be disappointed. I know I won't be. I'm too hungry for that. But I also like to pretend I'm something better than hungry from time to time. What do you guys think? Should we feed on her or not? Oh, Sophie, I know. The real curse of vampires. I miss the good things like pizza, burger, steaks, of course. You just have to find good vintages. The feeding restriction was hilarious in Coteries. I would say I wouldn't be opposed to refusing her. And it doesn't look like we're starving. I mean, we do have some blood here. Indicating that we're a little hungry. Everyone says feed. All right, let's do it. We'll feed her. Feed on her. The hunger gets the better of me, but somehow I don't mind. This is what she wants, isn't it? A quick look around. Nobody's paying attention. Why would they? We're just two random girls who seem to be into each other. I gently grab the back of her head and put my lips closer to her neck. She visibly trembles with excitement. As I bite down, her body stiffens. Then I drink, savoring each sip. She really tastes incredible, like an unfulfilled promise. Sweet, sweet innocence. As soon as I am done, she loses her footing, weakened but undoubtedly relieved. I help her sit down on the floor. She smiles at me, joy glinting in her eye. That's not weird to be sitting down on the floor in a dance club. Thank you. I really needed that. My name's... Don't talk. Just rest for a while. I leave her alone in the state of bliss. She doesn't seem to mind. It looks like I did the right thing. Right? All right, so it is almost 9, or 9 p.m. for me anyway, so I'm actually going to leave this here. I had such a good time streaming this. I can't wait to stream more, and luckily for everyone, I will be streaming In about 12-ish hours, I'll be streaming this again because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I have a lot more time on Saturday and Sunday to stream, and I'm hopefully going to be able to stream for a lot longer than 2 hours if my voice holds out. If you can't already tell, I have this lump in my throat. It just happens when I talk for 2 hours constantly. It's just I'm not great at it. I could never be a great orator or anything like that. But look out on my channel for, I'll post exactly what time I'll be doing it tomorrow. I don't know right now, but it should be in 12, 14-ish hours. So if you can't make it, it'll obviously be up on my channel for you to view later. But I want to thank everybody who's in the chat. You guys were absolutely fantastic, and I hope to see more of you in the future because we are streaming this every night until I finish it. So thank you so very much, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!